Today we're going to talk about something of confidence and the question of how to deliver the confidence, how to deliver ourselves, how to judge other people doing that. So what I have today is Aaron. He's one of my great friend and great speaker. And let's hear about what he kind of want to talk about and what he think in this area. Okay, Aaron.
Hello. So when we look at confidence in speaking, I think there's a variety of levels. I'll mention kind of three here. One is where when we're speaking, at the first level, we lack confidence in a sense. It's when we aren't confident in ourselves at all. Mm-hmm. We struggle to present ourselves in a way where people see us as calm, confident, and capable, and we just lack confidence. So that's something everyone struggles with at some point in their life with something, right? But the next one, I think, is where a lot of people think confidence ends, which is you seem confident on stage. You seem comfortable, you seem competent, you seem capable. But I think the highest level is the one that's the most interesting, because this is the one we subconsciously deal with all the time, which is where someone else uses their tone and their confidence in a way to make whoever's listening feel confident in that person. They're building credibility with the way they're speaking. Right. So when you look at those, like we had those 4 videos. So the 30-second clip of Trump, the mayor of Vegas, Bill Gates, Mohammed Khatani, those 4 people in some way, either they were trying to do that, they were trying to build credibility with their voice, or they actually did. And I think it's an interesting thing to look at, that there's a way of speaking that actually encourages other people to believe what you're saying without you actually showing any kind of expertise or knowledge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So it sounds like there's 2 types of confidence. So one is more like you fake it until you make it. Mm-hmm. So you don't really know, or the person don't really know what they are talking about, but they have this kind of form, mm-hmm. and through their voice or through their facial expression, they deliver the confidence to convince people. And the second one is they actually know things. So people will say they are some expert in this field. But I think that's maybe a third one, is the one with the expertise and combined with a very powerful delivery. And that might be where I would call it true confidence come from. And I think our video cover that, and some of them cover this true confidence. Mm-hmm. We might have these 3 categories in the video.
Sorry, what was that last thing you said there? I didn't quite catch that.
Oh, I say within the video we saved for today, I think they cover the 3 categories. So one is like they don't really know stuff, but they act they know. Mm-hmm. Second, they actually know stuff, but their delivery might be mediocre. And the third one is like they know stuff, and they actually have really good content as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, like, we look at things like scientific communicators, because that's definitely an interest of yours, is scientific communication. That's your background, is scientific communication. And what I tend to see as something that connects all the great scientific communicators, your Carl Sagans, your Neil deGrasse Tysons, your Bill Nye the Science guys, your Richard Feynmans, whoever, is that they speak in a way where it's engaging, it's really strong speaking, but it also is a way that builds credibility. So when you listen to them, you don't think, even if it's enjoyable, you aren't questioning them. You're thinking, that makes a lot of sense. And when we look at these 4 videos, so I think a great example of someone who speaks with supreme confidence all the time, for better or for worse, is Donald Trump. Because he speaks with supreme confidence constantly. Whether he should be confident in what he's saying or not, I don't know. I'm not an expert in a lot of the things he talks about. I disagree with a lot of the things he says, but he has 100% confidence. And he does this.
Giving that, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I think a lot of other people would benefit from doing, is if you have that supreme confidence in what you say, it becomes somewhat infectious, right? Like one thing I point out with him in particular is he emphasizes words really well. Like he makes words stand out. He tends to make them longer and louder. So what he'll do is he'll say something like wrong. He doesn't say that's wrong. He says wrong. He makes it louder. He makes it longer. And by making it stand out like that, it seems like it's a headline in the conversation. So if you're saying something and I say wrong,
oh shit,
emphasizing that you're wrong. I'm not just saying you're wrong, I'm emphasizing it, right? So that's one way to totally undermine anything someone else is saying, is you emphasize it because it becomes the headline of that sentence or that section of what you're saying. Wrong, you're wrong, right? Same idea where like this, we've done so many great.
And think about it.
Sorry?
It definitely make me pause and think about if I'm actually wrong.
Yeah, and by emphasizing it like that loud, long, it's a confidence, right? When we say a word like that, it's because we're confident in it. That word is one I'm not afraid to say it. I'm going to say it loud. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm going to extend the word because it's so important, right? And by doing that, you build this feeling of supreme confidence in it.
Yeah.
And then if you transition in videos in a sense, and you look the mayor of Vegas in that video where she's debating with Anderson Cooper,
yeah,
she tries to do the same thing. I don't think she does it very well though, because
what Trump's doing. Yeah.
Sorry?
He tried to mimic, to copy what Trump.
Yeah, and I mean, whether that's the source she's getting it from, I don't know.
No
but
idea. Yeah.
It's possible. But the way she says, like, don't put words in my mouth. She says that at one point in the video. She's talking. Anderson Cooper says, "Are you offering up people as a control group?
Yeah.
Like the people of Vegas, the citizens of Vegas?" She said, "Don't put words in my mouth." She's trying to emphasize that and put it above what he's saying. Unfortunately, I think Anderson Cooper is a great example of someone who, and especially in that video, he was very confident what he was saying. Like the look on his face, the tone of his voice said the entire time, "What are you talking about?" And it was a confident, "What are you talking about?" Not like, "What are you talking about?" What are you talking about? So he was almost able to out-emphasize her. So she tries to have that overwhelming wrong moment, but it doesn't quite stick because there's a counterbalance in confidence. Yeah. But it's an interesting thing to see that it's just tone. It's just what they're doing with their voice. Yeah, body language is important, but even if you cover up the camera and you can't see someone, if they have that wrong, it asserts itself, right? Because body language is still important. If I'm sitting there all tiny and uncomfortable, wrong, even if I'm crunched up like this and I say it, doesn't quite have the same effect. But if the camera's covered and I say that, you're like, oh, he's right, I'm wrong.
He probably knows him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then the TED video, it's kind of a good demonstration of power of words, like you said. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, he acted on it, but in a way, it's more of an acting and comedy type of speech than what I call a information speech. He's more like demonstrating or showing what he means by his topic. Mm-hmm. So it's a quite different kind of video than the Anderson Cooper interview or the Trump clip.
Yeah. And this is like Mohammed Khatani's video is the one we're talking about. Yeah. He does some very interesting stuff. It's a different style of speech, right? So what Trump, in that Trump video, is just the 30-second clip, he's interacting with someone else. So it's a little different in that sense. But that speech with that session with Trump is meant to be informative / persuasive, right? He's trying to tell people what's going on. He's trying to say, oh, we're going to take the money back from Harvard. This is our plan. I'm trying to persuade you that I'm going to do it. And I'm trying to inform you of what my plan is. Whereas with Mohammed Khatani, it's Toastmasters World Championship 2015. I think he's trying to inspire is part of it, because that's generally the kind of speech that wins Toastmasters International. He's trying to entertain. This is a speech strictly for entertainment purposes. It's a motivational speech meant to engage and inspire and create an emotional reaction. So there's a different purpose, but you see the same effect. Because the way he opens that speech, he doesn't just tell us what he's going to do. He doesn't say, I'm showing you, I'm going to talk to you about the power of words. He demonstrates it with that same kind of tone where he says, look, I think he says 3 times, there are 3 times as many people dying from diabetes as there are from cigarettes. And he says it with this serious look on his face. I don't have any cigarettes. I don't smoke that, so I wouldn't have any. But he holds up the cigarette and he says, 3 times as many people are dying from diabetes as cigarettes. And the primary cause of lung cancer isn't these, it's your DNA. And he says it in a serious, confident tone. And you have to be like, wow, I didn't know that. That sounds crazy. 30 seconds later, he says, I made that up, right? But it's that tone that convinces you.
Did you ever believe for a brief moment even?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Well, yeah, so here's the thing.
When I get 1 second, maybe just 1 second.
Exactly. So he says it, and he says it with such conviction that I think in that instant, I had this moment of, wow, really? And then a second later, your brain's like, no, that's dumb. There's no way, right? With insulin, with all these things, diabetes is not killing that many people globally. That doesn't make sense. We know cigarettes are bad. We've been saying it for years. Don't think that. But because of that supreme confidence, to say, smoking doesn't kill people. And everyone's like, really? Oh, wait, no. And you have to fight with yourself to believe it.
Yeah, it can't make you like, oh, wow, really? And then you think like he's being nice, him revealing the truth in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
If you think about someone, if they just going to make a 10-minute speech, make you believe in the false truth of false word of view, and I just wonder how will that do to people's mind.
Well, and people do that all the time, right? They speak with that supreme confidence and they pitch their point of view, which may or may not be supported by facts or evidence of any kind, but they pitch that. They just say, this is true. And everyone goes, okay. Right? But I mean, and I think it is, as you say, it's nice of Muhammad Khatami to not just like leave us with that thought of, is it really? And then make us do some skeptical research. But it's a great example of how powerful words can be. And his speech goes on to express that, it's why it's a powerful speech, is because he demonstrates it before he actually does it. And that's a really strong introduction to a speech. And if you do that in your speech, your audience has to agree with you, because if you even believe him for a millisecond, and you don't even have to believe, if you question your beliefs for a second, he wins, because he's demonstrating the power of words. He's not saying he has to convince you forever. He's demonstrating the power of words.
Yeah, he gave his point across.
Exactly. And if you question yourself for even a second, he's showing you words are powerful. There's like for the past, 40 years, people have been fighting and arguing over how cigarettes are bad. And we've all finally come to an agreement. There's decades of science showing it now. And he can use the power of words for 1 second to undermine all the science we've heard, all the bad stuff, and say, maybe cigarettes aren't bad. And if you believe him for a billionth of a second, he has proven his point.
Yeah.
And that is the power of words, but I also think that's the power of that confidence, which you see you see it a lot in politics. You see it a lot. Anytime there's argumentation, you're going to see that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a really interesting way of using one's voice.